A quick reaction to Atletico versus Real Madrid post-match.
That was great, wasn't it? That's what you want from a cup tie.
Now, I'm not a mathematician, but that's 14 goals,
right?
I believe.
Yes.
In the last two games between these two sides.
Yeah.
I am absolutely loving this version of Atletico Madrid.
Yep.
From the depths of despair of not wanting to watch them play.
The Real Betis rant.
Early in the season.
Yep.
To this version that we've been sort of calling out for, more expansive, more attacking, utilising these quality players that they do have. These players that can influence games and can cut teams open and can score goals. And it's not just about defending. And yeah, it's leaving them more susceptible at the other end to counter-attacks, and it's putting Jan Oblak under more pressure. But by God, particularly at home, it's really, really good to watch. And yeah, Real Madrid had more possession, but it's hard to argue that in the end, Atletico Madrid didn't deserve to win this game.
When I first listened to Craig's analysis, I'm like, no, I don't necessarily agree with what he said, because Real Madrid created a lot of good chances. For example, first half alone, Real Madrid could score a few goals. At the same time, if you follow me, you know what's my philosophy in football match. A team who deserves to win the game, it's not about who created the most chance. It's not about who has the most possession. It's not about who had the most on-target shot. It's about a team who score more goals than the opponent. So based on my philosophy, I think Atletico deserve to win. Now, if you argue that, okay, Real Madrid were unlucky today because they had a couple of crossbar shots, well, I do agree. However, that's also part of football. Let's talk about our first goal. A bad header by Rudiger. I don't think Lunin could do anything. Again, that's just unfortunate. At the same time, with the goal he scored, that's also kind of lucky, right? Oblak scored the goal. So he's kind of like equalized. And the second goal we considered, again, another blunder by our defensive side. For example, first of all, a bad touch by Kama, and then a very late reflex by Lunin. I think Lunin was expecting Rudiger would do something. However, when you have so much time, you are the one who should be taking action.
Did Real Madrid lose this game today?
Trying to think back to all the goals now. I mean, where they lost it was they weren't clinical enough when they had possession and they had some chances. And Oblak, you know, made some mistakes, and Atleti made some mistakes. I think they lost the game maybe as it went on in the middle of the park. You know, Modric didn't put his hand up to be in the team before Toni Kroos. The Tchouaméni situation baffles me. He's one of the freshest players on the field. He's only off the bench. He's got his mate who's played all game, and he's now chasing back into the left back area, Vinicius Jr., and he's chasing one of the most creative players in Spanish football, in Antoine Griezmann, and he's used to use this word again. He's sauntering, he's ambling, and it absolutely baffles me why. And that's not listen, it's not the only reason why they lost, but they certainly lost a goal. And if Tchouaméni is alert and doing what a defensive midfielder should do and sees that happening in front of him, he busts a gut to get over there. And there is no way in the world that Antoine Griezmann can get the strike away. Right. He's then going to have to beat Tchouaméni as well and do what he did.
Listen, this decision by Tchouaméni also baffles me, not just ESPN panelists. I do agree both of them with Shaka and Craig because, okay, Vini first did a mistake. He had 2 back-to-back first touch, but that's fine. That happens sometimes, right? And he's charging Griezmann. But when Tchouaméni was jogging, he has to go from this side and to stop Griezmann. If he would go, he could stop Griezmann. I would argue that probably this is the reason why we lost today, because this was their winning goal, right?
I think it's a reflex that Tchouaméni doesn't have because he's not a centre-back, he's a midfielder. And he hasn't got that reflex. I'm very disappointed by, I think it's Nacho next to him. Nacho has to go. He knows that he has to go because he knows that Tchouaméni doesn't have that reflex. You have to make sure that Vinicius is being helped out, and the only way that you can do it is to take the decision to go for it. I think Tchouaméni hasn't got that reflex because he's not in a survival situation.
I don't know what I have just watched. What a nonsensical philosophy from Frank. That doesn't make any sense. What kind of reflex you're talking about? When Nacho and Rudiger was covering the center, Tchouaméni is the one who should be one doing that job, not Nacho. now I can understand why he's trying to defend because he's countryman ultimately. But I'm not just blaming Tchouaméni. I'm just saying that this kind of decision should be avoided.
I get what you're saying, Frank, but we're not talking about Brahim Diaz in that position.
Right.
We're not talking about Rodrigo. Tchouaméni's a defensive midfielder. Guess what defensive midfielders have to do? Not just now, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. They have to track runners. They have to sense danger. They have to cover fullbacks. It's what the best ones do. As a midfielder, when you see that happening, do I think as a midfielder, oh, I'll just leave him be? Or is my first thought, I need to go over there and double up because he's in trouble? That's just that should be automatic for him. And
listen, I think I don't have anything further to add here because I wholeheartedly agree what Craig just said because it's like fundamental of football. When you talk about the alphabet A, B, C, D, that's like basic of language, English language, right? This is same for football. This kind of decision making should be fundamental for a player who plays for a CDM position.
I agree. I think he is culpable, but I do take Frank's point that maybe it doesn't come as naturally to him as it does to Roy Keane or Patrick Vieira, and Tchouaméni is still growing into to that position.
Well, they better hurry up. He's a defensive midfielder.
Yeah, but he's not a starter for a reason. He's not a starter. Let's admit that. He's not a starter for a reason. He's growing into that position.
Again, Shaka is wrong here. What he said, he's not a starter for a reason. I mean, Tchouaméni is a definite starter for CDM position. He didn't start today because maybe Carlo wanted to do something different. Maybe he just because they came back from Saudi, maybe they're tired. That's why he did some rotation. But Tchouaméni was a starter here, right? Before he got injury.
But at the same time, if we discuss where it kind of went wrong for Madrid, a lot of Madrid boxed the first half.
Yeah.
And did so with 10 men, let's be honest. Look at Modric. Was only on the park for set pieces. He didn't offer an awful lot. So I think at moments like that, you go to somewhere like the Metropolitano, and you have command of the game. You have got to separate yourself from Atletico Madrid, and they couldn't. Not for want of trying, but I just feel that Luka Modric, as outstanding a player as he was, I thought he was a little bit of a passenger for Real Madrid today.
Regarding Luka Modric's performance, I have two different opinion. First of all, saying that Real Madrid played as if with 10 men, I think that's kind of disrespectful because Luka wasn't that bad, in my opinion, because he was doing all the good crosses. I think his crossing is better than Kroos in general. Also, if you saw first half, I think he had a couple of good through passes and he created a couple of good chances. So it's not saying that he was totally invisible as if 10 men. At the same time, I do agree some of the point that we did not see the same Luka Modric that we want to see. A Luka Modric who will make a huge difference, who will dictate the game as his will. We did not see that. Being said that, let's not forget, he's 38 years old. He's getting old. There's a reason why older players don't play as often for bigger clubs because physicality, stamina, those things are important. And today Luka played. I believe that Carlo wanted to give Kroos some rest. So let's discuss some of the tactical points. First of all, Lunin's performance. Yes, he did mistake, but I still side by my point that Lunin should be our starting goalkeeper every match. Yes, he had mistake. Again, ultimately, they're all human. Because we also have seen insane saves from Lunin. For example, the save he did just before we equalized, that was amazing. So he has the talent. For me, why we lost today? For me, if you watch the game today, we lost the control of the midfield totally. Once we subbed off Fede Valverde. Well, we know that Fede Valverde is the most important player for this team at midfield. Whenever he doesn't play, we saw the difference. Like, we literally had no control whatsoever. Because Fede does defensive job, offensive job. He's everywhere. His presence makes huge difference in terms of our chance creation, in terms of our defense, everywhere. So when we took him out, you have seen Atletico was attacking so easily. It's like there's no obstacle for them. So that's another reason why we lost today. Another reason is Vinicius Junior's subdued performance. I would not say he has necessarily super bad game, but we did not see that energetic Vinicius who can take the game by himself. Today, he was playing more into left side than centrally, so which was kind of also affecting his performance because whenever he had some possession, he was spending so much time on the left side and he was going for some individual brilliance, but somehow he could not do much today. Also, Simeone also put multiple players to stop Vinicius. So you know that whenever opposition team plays multiple players to stop Vinicius, oftentimes they are successful. Being said that, the best player for our team today, to be honest, if I'm being honest, the only player who was trying to do something different is Jude Bellingham. Like, he was playing so great. He was creating, he was dribbling so easily, but somehow we are so unlucky. Another takeaway from today's match is that Brahim has to be a little bit more involved with the team. Like, yes, it's okay to dribble, but sometimes you have to know when to pass, when to stop dribbling. Because sometimes today, we're spending so much time just by himself. I think in football, it's not about individual brilliance. It's about team performance. So you have to look for the better decision rather than just dribbling. The last point, probably the most controversial point, and I think most of you might disagree with me what I'm going to say. Copa del Rey is one of my least favorite cup. If we win, okay, great, another cup for us. But personally, it doesn't matter much for Real Madrid. We are a team which trophies matters the most, La Liga and Champions League. Again, I understand that our team always looks for trophy. It doesn't matter if small or big. But if I want to see the positive, just think about it. We have so many hectic schedule. So playing less match for Copa del Rey might be blessing in disguise. That might help us in the long run for Champions League and in La Liga. Who knows? Anyway, let me know what did you think about our performance today.